In the deepest way, in the most profound manner, I am who I am because somebody loved me. Somebody cared for me. I was kicked out of school in the 3rd grade for refusing to salute the flag. Boy, we got a dialogue going on now with that, with Brother Colin and others. But I was kicked out of the Sacramento Unified School District for a while, and it brought tears to Mom's eyes, and it hurt me deeply, and Dad was upset. I won't go into the rest of it. He was old school. He loved me, though. But I was transferred to an elementary school named Earl Warren. And I met 2 of the most magnificent teachers imaginable. These are folk who love folk. It was concrete, it was on the ground, is what Ashford and Simpson called the real thing. That's where I come from. That's why I am nothing but a small manifestation of a great people, of a grand tradition. I come from a people who have been terrorized, traumatized, and stigmatized for 400 years. I come from a people who have been some of the hated people in all of the modern world, but we taught the world so much about love. That's John Coltrane's Love Supreme. That's Toni Morrison's Beloved. That's the grandmama. Never seen so much love on the American theatrical stage in A Raisin in the Sun. That's James Baldwin's essays, every nook and cranny shot through with a love. The love stripping off that mask that we know we cannot live within, but fear we cannot live without. That's James Baldwin, the son of Harlem. Never went to college, but a college went through him. That's my tradition. And Mom, the elementary school named after her, Irene B. West in Elk Grove. She's a graduate of this institution, Class 1961. But when she went through this institution, she understood that she was not going to be so shaped by any culture of conformity or complacency. That she was going to shape then Sac State in the best of who she was, just as she allowed herself to be shaped in the image of the best of what Sac State was. Because the last thing we need these days, in these bleak times, is a whole generation of highly educated folks so obsessed with success that they're conformists, they're complacent, they're so thoroughly tied with mobility they lose sight of the deeper questions of what it means to be human, what it means to be a citizen, what it means to be sensitive to those who are locked out, what it means to be empathetic to the orphan and the widows and the fatherless and the motherless. She comes out of Jerusalem, the legacy of Jerusalem, but has been dipped in what the Isley brothers call a caravan of love. And that's called the Black Freedom Movement. This is very important for young brothers and sisters of all colors, because we're experiencing such a magnificent moral awakening, spiritual awakening, democratic awakening, but we still got to deal with a whole lot of stuff that's hemorrhaged at the top of our society. And you can become very discouraged. You can become very disillusioned. You can begin to despair. But the great Goethe from the German tradition, with all of its wisdom at its best, said, he or she who has never despaired has never lived. Life is not like Disney World. No despair there, just fun. Not talking about sentimental perceptions of the world in which somehow you always want to deny and evade disillusionment and despair and feeling as if the bleakness is overwhelming you. No, my mother comes from a tradition of a blues people that says we can look despair in the face and, like Jacob in the 32nd chapter of Genesis, wrestle with that angel of death in such a way that you emerge with new energy, new vision, new possibility, connected to others' humanity. That's the tradition that I happen to be a small part of. And it is unapologetically human. It's an echo of Socrates' line 38a in Plato's Apology. The unexamined life is not a life for the human. And we know our English word human derives from the Latin humando. And humando means what? Burial. And that's who we are. We're on our way to burial. We're organisms with language on our way to death. And if you're a Christian like me, I believe each and every one of you are made in the image of God, but you're on your way to death. You don't escape time and space other than through the grave. And that's always where any discussion of justice begins. Any justice, as only justice, soon degenerates into something less than justice. Justice is rescued only by something more profound than justice, and that's love. But love has been so bastardized and commodified and hollowed out. But I come from a hated people who understand that love of self and others is profoundly emancipating and liberating of mind, heart, soul. And we're going to be true to the John Coltrane's, true to the Nina Simone's. We're going to be true to Stevie Wonder. We're going to be true to Ida Wells Barnett. We're going to be true to Frederick Douglass. We're going to be true to Martin Luther King Jr. and Fannie Lou Hamer and Ella Baker and others. They didn't struggle in vain. They were on the love train. They on the love train. Never be apologetic about love. But you have to muster the courage to love truth and love beauty and love goodness. And if you religious like I am, you love the holy. And our problem these days is what? Oh, we got a profound love deficit. It's the only way we can account for the fact that we're the richest nation in the history of the world, and yet 22% of our precious children, no matter what color, live in poverty. That's a moral disgrace. Or that 44% of black children under 6 live in poverty in the richest nation in the history of the world. No serious public dialogue about it. Where's the moral outrage? Where's the righteous indignation? Where's the concern about those who have to deal with circumstances they ought not have to? But that's about love too. But in the black tradition, the major impediment of love has always been fear. People scared, intimidated. And I come from a tradition that says each and every one of us have equal significance and value. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what nation you come from. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care what your sexual orientation is. It's a human thing all the way down. All the way down. And the love has a spillover. Same is true in our U.S. foreign policy. Everybody knows, oh, lo and behold, when an American gets killed by a U.S. drone, they got a press conference the next day, they got economic compensation, and they have a public conversation. But let a precious child in Yemen or Pakistan and Afghanistan get killed by a drone, nobody wants to talk about it. Or we know the story. The White House says, we haven't killed a civilian at all. I said, quit lying, Barack. What you mean you haven't killed a civilian at all? Where's your evidence? Where's your argument? Brother West, how come you so hard on the black brother? I believe in love of truth. When I went to Sunday school, they said, Jesus loved the little children. All the little children of the world, red or yellow, black and white, they are precious in his sight. And I believed it. It could be a precious Jewish baby in Tel Aviv. Priceless. It could be a precious Palestinian baby in Gaza. Priceless. Human. Where's our voices? When will we get the truth about how many innocent people have been killed by U.S. drones? Oh, we'll get it sooner or later. I tell my students all the time in the 41 years I've been teaching, I've taught in prisons for 37 years with my precious brothers. Just finished my course at Broadway. At the end of my classroom, I said, you were here to learn how to die. And I said, Brother West, I thought I was taking a philosophy class to get a grade. No, you're here to learn how to die. See, Plato says philosophy, love of wisdom, philosophy is a meditation on the preparation for death. Montaigne says to philosophize is to learn how to die. Seneca says he or she who unlearns slavery learns how to die. What do you mean, Brother West? What I mean is, in the short time that we're here, from our mama's womb, when of course Bootsy and George Clinton remind us we all emerge from the funk. All of us. All of us emerge from the funk now. And one day our bodies will be the delight of terrestrial worms. That's funky too. Not here that long. But the only way you learn how to live well is learn how to die. Because when you give up certain assumptions you have, you give up certain dogma and doctrine you have, when you give up certain prejudices that you have, that is a form of death. And there's no education, there's no maturation, there's no growth, there's no development without that process of learning how to die. One of the greatest eulogies ever given for Martin Luther King Jr. was given by a white sister named Dorothy Day, a Catholic towering prophetic figure. She said, Martin Luther King Jr. learned how to die daily because every day he emerged, he knew not only that he would be an object of COINTELPRO and the FBI and therefore subject to possible assassination, but he also knew there were certain things about him that he had to wrestle with inside of his soul, and every day he could emerge more courageous, more critical, more open, and more willing to serve. That's what Dorothy Day meant by learning how to die. Grace Boggs, the great Asian thinker, would say the same thing. So it is here at California State University, Sacramento. When you graduate, you raise the question, did I allow a college to go through me in such a way that I learned how to die, and therefore I emerged with more power, more insight, more wisdom, more courage, not just capacity to make money, but the money that I make, I will use it for my precious family and self, and also be a citizen committed to public interest. James Madison himself, civic virtue. Show me a republic that downplays civic virtue, and I will show you a republic so rift with factions and unable to conceive of itself as connected so that we can acknowledge the degree to which in the end we hang together or hang separately. Yes, that is what Du Bois in part had in mind when he talked about intellectual integrity. But who's willing to tell the truth? It's so rare these days that people want to take a risk. And always remember, the condition of truth is to allow suffering to speak. If you're not allowing suffering to speak, let's say here in Sacramento, all the window dressing in the world, all the deodorizing, sanitizing, sterilizing in the world, trotting out highly successful X and Y's and Z's, if you're not allowing suffering to speak in those corners that are being hidden and concealed, you're going to reap what you sow. Chickens come home to roost. Sooner or later, you got to come to terms with that suffering. Oh, you want to push truth aside. Truth crushed the earth will rise again. Thank you all so very much. Stay strong, California State University, Sacramento. I salute you. I salute you. Empower one another, push one another, unsettle one another, respect one another. Thank you so much.